10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 505. Hey everybody, as always, before we dive into the episode, just wanted to remind you, all of these episodes are available as YouTube videos on my YouTube channel. So just go on YouTube and search for my name, Nick Maynella. It should be the latest video on the channel. So if you want to see any of these examples that I'm talking about, I always put them on screen, and there are always other visual aids for you. Also, all of the stuff that we talk about in these episodes is always available as PDFs with backing tracks, trading tracks, all kinds of good stuff over on our site, Jazz School. Sign up to support the show with a small monthly donation, and you get everything we talk about in a ready-made package so you can start practicing right away. If you want to know more about that, just click the link in the description, and it will take you over to Jazz School. You get signed up, and then you can decide whether you want to support the channel or not. All right, let's get on to the episode. Thing that strikes fear into every jazz player's heart when somebody calls something about 300 BPM and you just feel like you'd rather slink off the stage and out the back door with nobody seeing you rather than play over it. And this is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart because I've always struggled with playing fast. I don't know why. It's just not something that comes easy to me, and it's definitely stressed me out a lot in my life as a jazz musician. So I've got a lot to say on this topic because of that, and we're going to do a multi-part series on this. But today, let's talk about some of the basics that I think are really, really important for developing the ability to play fast. So what we're going to talk about today is really throwing ourselves in the deep end in terms of tempo. We're going to work with very, very fast tempos because I think one of the biggest things about playing fast is that you just have to hang with those tempos and normalize them. Just doing something with a really, really fast tempo. And I think a great tune for the activities for today is Cherokee because it is typically played pretty fast. But the cool thing about Cherokee, unlike rhythm changes or something like that, is that the chords are pretty spread out. So it allows us a little bit more space to start hanging with these fast tempos. So honestly, the first thing that you could do that does not even require you to touch your instrument is to simply put on a backing track at an insanely fast tempo. So we're going to use Cherokee at 300 BPM today. So literally just sitting and letting it go by, but really trying to be with it, really trying to, follow those chord changes, really immerse yourself into the backing track. So that would be number one, is just sort of like preparing our brain that, we're going to deal with some really fast tempos today. Okay, so the second thing that I did a lot of to start actually participating with these fast tempos without being in way over my head was to think about playing really long note values. So that I was doing something, I was participating with this insanely fast tempo, but what if I only had to play whole notes? So this required me to be totally in it because I had to play a note over every measure. However, I didn't have to play fast. I only had to hang with the fast tempo. And if you've never done this before, you might be surprised at how difficult it is to keep up with something as simple as whole notes, but at this insanely fast tempo. And it actually really tests your knowledge of the chord changes. And it also makes sense. If you can't play whole notes over Cherokee at 300 BPM, it makes no sense that you're going to be able to do anything else. So simply start by playing a couple choruses over Cherokee and trying to play really good sounding whole notes over the entire form. Okay, so once you can do that, and again, it might take you a lot longer than you think it's going to just play whole notes. That's cool. Stick with it until you can do it. Once you can do it and you're comfortable, one of the things you'll notice is that it doesn't feel as insane to have that backing track on at 300 BPM simply because you've exposed yourself to it. And that's huge. That exposure factor is massive. Okay, so now what makes sense? Half notes. Can you play half notes? Now, this is easily doubly as hard, not just because you have to play twice as many notes, but the factor of having to play quality half notes and connect the different chords together and find a path through the changes. It's much more difficult, but again, really, really worth it. So now we want to go through and play half notes, but there's an intermediary step if you would like, and that could be that you could play 2 measures of whole notes, 2 measures of half notes, if the half notes feel like just totally impossible to you. So I'm going to do that. 2 measures of whole notes, 2 measures of half notes. And then eventually we do want to get to an entire chorus of half notes. Okay, so now the same idea holds true. Now we want to do quarter notes. But again, we could ease ourselves into it. We could do some combination of half notes and quarter notes, or even whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes. Remember, at this point, we're just trying to be able to hang with this insanely fast tempo. So try to work your way up to playing an entire chorus of quarter notes. But if you play a wind instrument, you're going to have to breathe. That's cool. Give yourself a break at times. Regroup, come back in. Okay, so at this point, if you can play an entire chorus of quarter notes at this tempo, you have no doubt spent a lot of time with this tempo. And that in itself should really help you a lot. It should make it a lot less intimidating because you've proven to yourself, like, I can function, I can do something with this tempo. That's huge. That, at least it was huge for me. I don't just like fall on the floor of my practice room and curl up in a fetal position when I have to deal with 300 BPM. So now what I think everybody should do that will really, really help you down the line when you're actually starting to play like real solos at these tempos is you want to go through and you want to freely sort of switch in between any of these subdivisions. And what you might even realize is that you can sneak a few eighth notes or other rhythms in there because you've spent so much time with the chord progression at this tempo. So remember, there's a lot of practice. You know, this is all condensed into a very, very short video, but I'm laying out what could be weeks or months of work for you. But I think ultimately you want to try to mix things up freely because that's what improvisation is, right? We want to be able to freely function. We want to be able to do whatever pops into our ears in the moment. And this is just a simpler version of what will ultimately become your ability to play whatever you want over this, but you're flexing the same muscle that you would if you were totally open. We're just doing it with subdivisions that aren't as intimidating as, you know, eighth notes and eighth note triplets and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so if you're really intimidated by these fast tempos, anything like 250 and above, I really do think this is a great exercise. You can do this over any tune. I think Cherokee is just a great place to start if you're wondering what tune to do it over. Now, what I'll give for the supporters of the channel is I'll give some tracks where we are trading whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes back and forth. So it'll give you somebody to bounce off of. It'll also give you a chance to allow your brain to rest while I'm playing, and then you can dive back in on the next section. So that'll allow you to take this concept that I'm talking about and try to put it into action right away at 300 BPM. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say channel supporters, if you click on the link in the description and come over and sign up for my online jazz education platform, Jazz School, which is totally free, by the way. Once you're in there, you have an option of supporting the channel with a very, very small monthly donation. And in return for that donation, you get all of these tools that, again, will allow you to just start practicing this stuff right away. It also allows me to keep making these videos and spending the time that it takes to shoot and edit and make the materials and all that good stuff. So click on that link. Once you're into Jazz School, you'll find all the information to support the channel. And if you choose to do that, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Again, it just makes this whole thing possible. All right, if you try this or you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll see you down there. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you don't miss part 2 with more advice on playing at fast tempos. And as always, thanks for hanging, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.